All right.
All right, Will, we're live.
Amazing.
I feel overdressed, Will.
I don't know. I'm wearing a t-shirt. Come on now.
Hey, man, it's been hot for 6 straight days. I'm sitting outside.
You do have AC though, right?
What's that?
You do have air conditioning in your mansion?
I don't want to be inside.
Okay.
What do I want to be inside for when it's a beautiful day? I got the sun down here. The kids are on the trampoline. You might see them walk by. That's why I have the headphones on.
Right.
I got.
You have a beautiful house. I've been to your home once. It's beautiful. Beautiful garden.
Just once, eh?
Yeah, just one. He doesn't invite me ever. I invite him to my house all the time. He's come twice.
That's not true. That's not true.
Christmas and a dinner party in 2018.
No.
So, yeah.
I was also, excuse me, I was also there after a golf tournament, remember?
Right. Okay. 3 times. All right.
Yeah.
3 times.
Yeah.
You know how many times I've been invited, Dan?
0.
Ryan, I will now invite you to everything.
You know what the worst part is, Ryan? He says he remembers coming to my house. I don't even remember him being here.
That's probably because he brought too many Eldorados over.
It was during the day, Ryan. It wasn't. We're talking business.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I do remember now.
I was in Bowmanville, and he was
That's
there,
right.
and I'm like, I'm gonna go and talk to, because he's so busy. You know, he's Mr. It's end of tax season always, it seems. End of tax season not until June this year.
Listen, some of us run a legitimate business. We don't just sit around at home and, I got a call. I better go show a house.
You know how hard it is to show a house right now with COVID? The process is involved. It's ridiculous.
Virtual meetings,
Virtual,
right?
then you take them in the house and you're wearing the mask, and it's a whole bunch of different things. Not complaining.
I mean,
Safety first. It's a process.
With your open schedule, that just tells me that you're not showing enough houses. I see. I guarantee you won't be able to schedule Adam Farr on this podcast.
Oh my God!
Adam Farr. I worked with that guy 20 years ago at Montana's.
He's dropping
Adam
houses.
Farr's good people. You know, I grew up with Adam Farr. Good people. He's a neighbor. He lives around the corner from me.
Good guy. Yeah,
but he's never home because he's always out showing houses.
He's busy. You know, I aspire one day when I grow up to be Adam Farr.
You're gonna have to tag him in this video.
I am tagging him. I tag him once in a while on random things, but we grew up playing basketball together. So
yeah, I played basketball against him too.
I taught him. True story. I taught Adam Farr how to win because he lost to me a lot when we were teenagers, and then he surpassed me like towards the end of high school. But yeah, I taught him. Same with Dudley. Dudley and him. I taught those 2 guys how to win because they lost so much.
Yeah, but
so you don't practice what you preach then, eh? Because they're successful and you're.
I know. I'm old and fat. Okay, look at these guys.
You talk to Dudley and he'll tell you he's the most successful guy on the planet.
Oh, I know. He just called me. Like he just turned 40 the other day. I'm like, oh God, you're finally in the club.
Dudley's only 40?
Yeah, he just turned 40. Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was older than us. It must be that hairline.
You have the hairline that Ryan and I both have.
Yeah, but you guys keep it completely clean, so you can't really tell. It just looks like a good bald look. Dudley tries to keep like that little stubbly thing in it, but it starts like way back here.
Some guys.
You gotta accept it, right? Well, you just gotta accept it.
Yeah, you can do the whole tattoo thing, and I thought about it.
So did I. I thought about that too.
Because the maintenance is more because of the tattoo. Because when you start getting grays, like I'm getting on my head, I'm cutting it now every other day. It seems because
Will, if you put face paint on, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
you could be. Hey, did you ever watch wrestling? You could be like Kamala.
Yeah. No, thank you.
He'd be more the Birdman than me.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's a process. Having a bald head.
Is it?
A lot of work.
Oh God, yeah, it's not that hard though.
It's a 5-minute haircut every other day.
Try dealing with this.
It's a lot of work.
I have to put this in a man bun when I go for my runs because it just flows into my eyes every morning.
Rough life.
It's true.
So how are you guys holding up during this whole we're week 11, I believe, or 12.
Oh man, are we really?
Right.
Not by quick, eh? Sorry?
How are things?
They're good. Busy. I haven't worked this hard in the last 20 years of my life like I have in the last 2.5 months.
Exactly.
You know why? It's because you were on our podcast.
That's why, yeah.
People following up since the last time you were on here, asking questions.
Yeah. Oh, just blowing up my phone all day long. 647-988-1832. Call me now.
Oh, no, that's good. And what are the questions are you getting right now from employers?
The biggest one I would say lately is now that we're able to reopen, my employees don't want to come back because they're making $2,000 from the government.
It's
and they're
summer.
like, it's summer. I'm not coming back. And it's like, that's not an excuse to say, no, I'm not coming back. So
Yeah,
now it's helping out people with the processes of bringing them back because, again, it's not an excuse.
Yeah, but didn't Canada Revenue rule on that? They said that you can't deny going back to work and still collect that $2,000.
Oh, you'd be surprised how many people are still trying it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the biggest thing right now. And then after that, it's the health and safety. Now that my employees are coming back, what do I need to have in place? So we're helping them with that because, as you guys know, this stuff's changing every second, right? So,
right.
yeah.
Like, our employers concerned, because I know the government, I do have, again, my notes. The government was just stating, I think on Monday, that they're now going to try to legislate sick days. I am surprised that companies don't have paid sick days for people, but knowing there's going to be a second wave, are you hearing that from employers that they now need to develop, policies around sick days?
It's the policies around everything.
Right.
Even as crazy as it sounds, everyone should have a proper policy on how to wash their hands properly now, how to social distance. And the biggest policy I think that I've seen lately is an infectious disease control policy. Because what employers don't really realize, it gets your head thinking, eh? And that's what a lot of business do. Well, what's that? What people don't want is one of their staff members, knock on wood, catching the COVID and then saying, I caught it while I was working. Because you go to work 9 to 5, you leave, you might go to Walmart, you might go pick up some takeout, come home. You could have caught it there. But what you don't want is to say, well, I caught it while I was working. So all of these policies and all these procedures is what's going to mitigate so much risk for business owners right now. But you'd be amazed at how many don't have anything in place. They're still going off a handshake and verbal and everything. And it's going to get them into trouble.
I got a question though. How would you prove that? Like with WSIB, if you get injured on the workplace, there's video cameras, stuff like that. You can try to prove where that took place. How would you ever be able to prove where COVID was caught?
Exactly. And it's hard to, and it's almost, you can't, but the onus is on the employer. If they don't have the due diligence and the proper policies, the proper documentation, the measures in place, it could be deemed as maybe they did catch it there. But what they want, and what employers always have to do, is they have to prove that they're providing a safe work environment for their staff. So if they say, look, I've done my due diligence, here's all the policies, here's the communication I've had with my staff, this is what we did, it takes the onus off the employers because at least it shows that they're trying and that they have the proper things in place.
And that would be hard. I don't know how an employer could ever, like, you could do everything. I've heard of people doing everything at, like, isolation, washing their hands, whatever, still getting it, right? Yeah. So how could you still, as an employer, you could, I guess, show the evidence that you have tried.
Exactly.
Minimize so that's pretty much invisible.
Yep. So again, nothing's ironclad.
Right.
You're better to have something in place than have nothing at all. So if you said, we had a communication with the staff before they came back, and that's the paramount thing too, is all these policies and procedures that companies are developing, and we at Peninsula are helping with them, is they have to be handed to your staff before they come back.
And signed off?
Yeah, well, definitely want to sign off because it proves that you gave it to them and that they acknowledged it. But what you want is they have to have some time around to read it, understand it, and then as an employer, you want to train them properly on this stuff. Yeah. Right? So all this stuff really should be given to your staff before you open up your doors.
Wow.
And I bet we can count on one hand how many employers are doing that.
Yeah, well, at Peninsula, all of our clients, thankfully, have us to provide it for them. Right. But yeah, if you go out there and walk around, we live in Bowmanville, Dan. Well, you go out in Whitby, I guarantee you 7 out of 10 still have nothing in place.
I mean, I think when I go out, I am loving all the safeguards in place, like the shields. I think it's great. I don't understand why there's a need to have a plastic cover on the debit machine. How does that go to mitigate germs getting on it? It makes no sense.
Well, here's one. I went to my local Walmart last week. Cashier says, stop. I have to disinfect everything. She's got gloves on. She sprays a hand sanitizer on top of her gloves. And I looked at her and said, no disrespect, but you're doing nothing right now. You're better to take the gloves off and then just do it on your hands.
I agree. You see a collection of masks just thrown on the ground now throughout. I was in Bowmanville the other day. I saw a whole bunch of masks in a parking lot. I'm like, now there's gonna be trash of dirty, filthy masks. People that work in those parking lots want to pick them up, or like, there's so many things now around that as well. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You were in Bowmanville and you didn't stop in?
Oh yeah, I was
It's unbelievable.
I will stop it the next time. Yes.
The one that gets me is the people that are driving with the masks on and they're the only person in their car.
It's dumb.
I have a great analogy for that, but I won't share it on this, but I'll share it with you guys when you're not recording it.
Yeah, I think the whole mask and glove thing makes sense in theory. Like, I know, the government wants you to wear a mask. And I've heard of people that are not wearing masks being mask shamed.
Yeah.
Into wearing a mask. But then I was at the grocery store, people are taking off their masks, touching fruit, touching whatever, putting the mask on with gloves. It's a complete and utter mess. It's a false sense of security. So,
well, I'll tell you.
Yep.
I wore my mask for the first time the other day. So my wife sewed me a mask, and I took it with me like 5 times and forgot to put it on.
Right.
The other day, I actually had it on when I went to the grocery store, and it is the most uncomfortable thing in the world to have. You have to wear it so it covers your nose, right?
Yes.
So I warn you, make sure you have gum with you, because if you've eaten anything that has some spices or some garlic or some onions, and you got to breathe that stuff back into your own nose. Thank God there was gum in the car, man. And then you're walking up and down the aisles, and then the cashier asked me something because I bought all these different peppers and they didn't all have the little sticker on it, so she didn't know what they were. So I'm trying to explain to her what these ones are. I felt like I was muffled as I'm talking through this mask. She didn't have a mask on. So finally I just pulled the stupid thing down and I started talking to her like normal. But it takes a lot of getting used to.
I think it makes it for a mask if you're like out for a run or a walk. But to function day to day,
Why are you wearing it for a run?
I've seen people. I saw it this morning. It's 40 degrees outside. Someone was running, and these runners. Like, I was out early this morning. These runners are insane. They're sprinting, and I tried to run. I'm trying to do like a minute on, an hour off, and I ran for a minute. Like my shirt, I couldn't stop sweating. I must stop before I dehydrate and die. But runners I saw one today wearing a full mask and gloves while running today.
Aren't you walking by yourself? Like I run by myself.
Well, no, because when you run, so here anywhere, you run on the sidewalk and then you get out. If you see someone, you go on the road. Like it's a whole, or you go on someone's grass. It's a whole thing to keep your social distance.
I do, but I still don't see the point of wearing the mask.
Yeah,
I'm running by myself.
I agree.
Like
now back to employers, because we could talk about us for days. But to employers, though, like, are employers going to implement? If you are working in X kind of environment, having a mask on all day?
Yeah, there's some that are, especially like landscapers right now. Anyone that's sharing vehicles, they have company cars. Yeah, it's recommended that they should be in there. They should be sanitizing the equipment or the vehicle as they exit it. And as they come back in, sanitize it again, put the masks on. Because again, how's a landscaping company going to social distance their workers, right? 6 feet apart when they only have one company car. So the government hasn't come down yet saying that you can't do that. We advise that if the opportunity is there, to try to have your staff go in separate vehicles. Some are implementing that. Someone takes their own personal vehicle, and the companies are reimbursing for kilometers. But then you got a whole new kettle of fish now. What happens if that employee gets in a car accident while they're working in their own personal car? So there's a lot of moving parts going on. But again, it all comes back to, you just want to make sure you have as much documentation and as much measures in place that in the onus if something happens, the business owner can say, I've done my due diligence, right? I've done what I can, right? People that share office spaces with lunches, they're doing staggered lunch breaks now. Some have taken out the coffee makers in the thing, because maybe you're not properly washing your coffee cups, how many people are allowed in elevators. I'll be honest, if you ask me, I think a lot of this stuff is just overboard. I'm at the point now where it's too much and it's changing all the time, but it's things that business owners need to start thinking about. And again, the biggest thing is you got to have the stuff in place before your staff come back. Yeah.
So that's a great excuse for being late for work then. I had to wait for 12 elevators.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's true. Like how would you sanitize a car?
Lysol wipes on the steering wheel, right? On the seatbelt. What a lot of people are doing and what we're suggesting to our clients is if you have people that work every single day together, have the same crew go out. So not go out in the event that one of the staff members gets it, then you can both of them would be off for the 2 weeks, but you're not potentially infecting others. So that's one thing that a lot of companies are trying to do is keep the same core together. A friend of mine's a firefighter in Whitby, and he says that, like, obviously that they all work on the same shifts, but now they're really going to, you're only with the same people all the time. So in the event that one person gets it, the whole crew's off. So.
Right, and so that's the next question. So let's say if you're in a construction or firefighting situation and one person, so how would the company manage losing people for 14 days?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But again, that's something that the business owner might have to do because the pitfalls that could come after, legally, could be detrimental to a lot of businesses.
So are you saying the legal, I guess, implications far outweigh the cost of covering people that might be off or might, be sick and having to pay them while they're off?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're seeing this right now. You go on the radio and TV, and I've seen it everywhere. Employment lawyers in Toronto are just blasting. Were you improperly laid off? Call us now. That could be constructive dismissal. We'll sue you, right? I don't like to use the term, but they've almost turned it into ambulance chasers. Celino and Barnes out of Buffalo. That's what a lot of these employment lawyers are doing now. And there's gonna be a lot of court cases, unfortunately, in the next 2 years. I think the government's gonna be a little bit lenient. Sometimes business owners might have to think outside the box and do things that is right for the business at the moment. But again, if the legal implications come back, the business owner just wants to make sure that they have all the right things in place. Right. So again, that's why our phone is just ringing off the hook, because now people realize, okay, maybe a contract of employment wasn't of importance to me before, but now that I've laid off my staff, I need to get one in place now. If there's a second wave of it, you want to have a proper layoff clause within that contract of employment.
Now, what if an employee does not want to sign that contract? What do you do?
Yeah, so when it comes to signing contracts of employment, someone's been with you for, say, 5 years, and you lay it in front of them, and they say, I'm not signing it. What we suggest is there is consideration. Whenever you put a contract in front of anybody, right, there's always should be some sort of consideration. So I'll use you two, gents, as an example. You're both married, right? Happy, everything's going great. Then you start getting older going, if this goes sideways, I have to pay my spouse how much money, right? So you couldn't go to your spouse saying, can you sign this contract now saying that if we separate that you get nothing or we're not splitting it, right? If you did that, your spouse signed off on it, went to court, they found out that there's no consideration paid, that contract would be null and void. So consideration would be some sort of monetary value that you give to your staff. Then it doesn't always have to be money. You can say, I'll give you an extra 1 week of paid vacation to sign this contract, but it mitigates a lot of risk for the business owner. And I know I'm kind of going outside of here of what the original question was, but in terms of if they don't want to sign it, then common law would come into play. So common law, as per the Employment Standards Act, is 3 to 4 weeks per year that someone has worked for you for. So if someone's been with you for 5 years and you let them go, they could go after you for a minimum of 20 weeks worth of severance. And then severance is tied to your age, your title, the likelihood of you finding work elsewhere. And that's what a lot of these employment lawyers that are doing right now is wrongfully dismiss, constructive dismissal, let's go after. And if you don't have a proper contract, then the 3 to 4 weeks per year is coming into play. So that's where a lot of business owners now are realizing, oh, shoot, I don't have the proper things in place. I need to get the stuff now. And the key is you got to get the stuff before your staff come back.
Right.
So are you saying then it would be more beneficial from the employee standpoint than not to sign it and go under that common law statute?
Sometimes it could be, yeah, especially if they've been with you for 10 plus years, because now they're giving up a lot of their entitlements of what they could be owed. But a lot of this is could be, right? Like,
Right.
you know, I might lose my job down the road. Do I really want to sign that contract? Or some people might say, Dan, I've been with you for years. I understand why we're doing this. Dan wants to give me a, you know, I'm just going to throw it out here. I've been with you for 10 years, $10,000 consideration to sign a contract. Some people might say no problem whatsoever. Right? It's just businesses need to see what side of the fence they sit on and how much risk that they have. You know, someone that operates a small business with one employee that's been with them for 6 months, not a lot of risk there. But if you have, you know, 20 staff that have been with you for 10 plus years, there's a lot of risk there. That could easily close down your business.
Interesting. No, this is, I would not want, I mean, like I'm a, you know, self-employed, but I would not want to be that employer right now, or even an employee. This is such a gray and interesting time. But you did bring up the whole point of, in essence, you know, bribing. Which actually is not a bad idea when you think about it. You know, an extra week's vacation, or what we started off talking about, paid. Hey, you sign this, you get 10 paid sick days now, or before you had 0, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge benefit for some people. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I see value in that.
Yeah. Now Trudeau did come up with that. What was it, Tuesday?
Yeah, I think Monday or Tuesday. Yeah.
I don't even know. Is today Wednesday? I don't even know.
It is.
I don't even know. So that's a hot topic that's come up in the last, you know, couple hours too. I personally, Trudeau just said it. It's going to have to go through probably 3 or 4 different motions. I don't see it being passed because for a small business owner, you know, say you had one employee and you gave him 3 weeks of paid vacation. Ultimately, now they're going to get 5 weeks of paid vacation.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, no one uses these sick days when they're actually sick.
No, never.
Right? Friday afternoon, a day like this, hey, you want to go golfing? You know, the old, you call your employee, you cough, and go, I twisted my ankle.
Yeah.
You know?
And then when you're sick, you go lock yourself in your office and just veg for the day.
It worked. It worked, yeah. I personally don't see it passing, but he came out and said it. But, you know, like we look at what Bill 148 did with Kathleen Wynne when she implemented the personal emergency leave days. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Back in 2018, the first 2 had to be paid for. The next 8 were unpaid. That opened up a huge kettle of fish and issues for small business owners that were paying out a lot of money for people that really weren't sick. So then Doug Ford came in and said, scrap it. I don't, again, see it coming down the pipe. But then again, if you ask me at Christmas time, we're going to be locked in the house come March, I would say you're crazy too. So who knows, right?
Right. Because with the whole second wave, I think it would make sense because, you know, to have pay, I don't know why, if you are a larger company, you know, 20 plus more employees, to have paid sick days, one, it minimizes someone coming to work with COVID or any kind of flu or sick.
True. Yeah.
And 2, not having paid sick days, now knowing what we're dealing with, makes, in my opinion, no sense. And if I was a small business, which I am, me,
yeah,
and I remember last year I got very sick, and I was like, all right, I'm off for 2 weeks. I could not function. So, you know, you just have people supporting you in real estate. But I'm saying in your business as an entrepreneur or as a sole proprietor, you need to have sort of like a safeguard in place. If you got sick as a boss, you need to be able to still work and provide a service. How can you do that as well?
Willard,
yeah,
that's such a beautiful sentiment if people were actually honest. Like, you know as well as I do. Sure, for the person who's actually deathly sick and can't come to work, that'd be great. But there's always there's so many people out there that take advantage of these things, which is why your WSIB premiums are so high. Your disability insurance premiums are so high because there's always people trying to scam the system.
Right, but
and that ruins it for I don't hope anymore.
Everybody.
I'm a realist, man. It's just the way that it works. There's people like you. Yeah, if you told me you were sick, I would pay you for your day off.
Right.
Yeah.
But then I can name 50 other people that if they call me and tell me they're sick, I'm calling BS right away. And why would I want to pay them?
And I remember when I worked at like the college for years, I maybe took 1 sick day in a decade. The guilt you'd feel if you weren't sick. If you love your job and you love what you do and you want to provide for your family, why lie? Because when you actually need it, use it, right? If you're gonna be that kind of person, I don't know, makes no sense to me.
Yeah, believe it or not. Oh, my battery's dying. Did I lose you guys?
No, you're right.
There you are. Sorry. Believe it or not, in 20 years, I've taken 1 sick day. That's it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I started to take them. I mean, when I've been like, even because of the whole fact that if you feel like you're going to infect other people,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, now I work at home, so I can stay home. But I'm saying it's harder for me to commute to work and have my, especially in sales, and have my A game on if I'm sniffling and just not in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I find the opposite. If I go and I see you and, I don't feel good, people feel sorry for me. Okay, where do we sign? I used to work with a guy that had no kids, was not married, but he'd open up his laptop and he had 4 children there. And people are like, oh, who's that? And he goes, oh, that's my family. My wife, blah, 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 left us and I support the. And people, they felt so sorry. He'd signed the deal. And he had no kids. Unreal, eh?
Will's thinking where he can get some pictures.
I know, that's a good idea, but people know I don't have kids. And you know, more and more, I mean, I hear it all the time. People love what I have right now. Children and here's the thing: if this was when we were kids 30 years ago, I could find things to do without bothering my parents. Today's children are very dependent on their parents to entertain them.
Yeah,
and
the
different. I remember when we were kids and my mom would come home from work, we'd be like, and my mom's like, guys, I worked 2 jobs, make paper airplanes. And we'd make paper by ourselves. And for me and my 2 younger brothers, we played for hours. Kids today have an attention span of an ant. And it will take probably a minute or 2 minutes and then need something else to do. It's different times, man. I could not imagine being a parent today because kids today are needy.
I have 3, so next time you're in Bowmanville, I'll trade off with you.
Well, you do have a pool. The pool
I
looks
do.
nice in those.
And they're in there right now.
You see, they could be in there for hours, right?
Oh yeah, they were in there yesterday from 10 o'clock until 2. Quickly had lunch, and we got out around 6.
See, that's a full work day. That's perfect. Dan, there's an idea for you and your
Buddy,
family.
I'm thinking of putting one in for next year.
You should.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah, the
thing.
news said that pool sales are up by like 50%. And so you may want to order it now because you'll get it next year. Yeah.
Yeah. Get it now. Best thing I ever did.
Yeah,
I call it my Porsche in the ground. Let's go swim in Daddy's Porsche in the ground, kids.
I mean, pools are not cheap, but the value they provide, and especially if you don't you want to spend your weekends at home, instead of having to go to college or go out a pool.
Yeah.
Provide hours of entertainment for people.
Hours, yeah, they're fun.
Yeah, perfect.
Well,
Any other? Oh, sorry, what's that, Dan?
I was just gonna ask if Ryan's ever invited you over to his pool.
I can't swim. But I would. If Ryan invited me, I'd be that guy in the corner in the shallow end drinking.
Socially distancing
exactly.
himself.
You guys go there. I'll be over here in the corner. I love going to pools. I just couldn't manage having a pool. I just think they're a lot of work. And usually
hot tubs are a lot of work.
They are a lot of work, but usually you're not in the pool this early in the season as well, right? So it's May, and people have been in the pool now for over a week now with the warm weather.
My pool was open on the Monday, April 3rd, April 4th, whatever that Monday was. Yeah. I was like, screw this. If I'm being locked in my house, I'm getting my kids outside.
Right. That's almost 2 months, which is rare, right?
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So Ryan, to finish, I know you do need to leave eventually. What advice do you have for employers, considering now that we are going to, probably the next 18 to 24 months will be a very different kind of working world here in Canada?
What are you giving like the top 3 things that they should look at doing in order to protect themselves moving forward?
As always, proper legally vetted contracts of employment. In today's age right now, with a proper layoff clause, in the event of a second wave, you have to lay off your staff. An employee handbook with policies and procedures around everything. Every rule that you want your staff to follow has got to be in there. If it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. And a proper health and safety policy manual with, again, the health and safety policies around COVID-19, properly how to wash your hands. If you have shared workspaces, what to do, how to sanitize, all this stuff. So documentation, right, is the most important, and proving that you've put the right measures in place. You've communicated it to your staff are aware of it. That's what you need right now. So if anyone has questions, free advice, free consultation, 647-988-1832. I can definitely help you out.
That's perfect. No, I think it's important that employers start taking this more seriously.
More seriously, yeah.
And understand the impacts of their actions could really be a hindrance or a help to what we're dealing with right now as this pandemic evolves and we get ready for phase 2 in the fall or early Christmas.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Here's the reality. Like, I've read enough on this now to know that it only makes sense. There will be a second one. And it's fine.
You still gonna be loving this in January when you're locked in your house?
You see, here's the thing though. Yes. You see, for you and Dan, your kids are gonna get home crying, screaming their heads off. They can't go in the backyard. There's snow back there. I will be doing what I've done all along, whatever I want. That's the greatest gift in life. That's the thing. People are like, why don't you have kids? Because I can do whatever I want, when I want. I don't need to hear screaming. Like, you hear, let's listen to my house right now. That's it all day. I love it. I don't have to sit outside. Like Dad has no clothes. Dad is wearing a wife beater, a sleeveless shirt, something that we see by 10,000 people. But that's Dad. That's why I love him. He doesn't care.
Do you know why he's wearing it? Because our house sounds like a Pantera concert all day long. So Dan's dressed in the part.
Getting ready for it. It's too hot, man. And not only that, I got this whole mop of hair that can't get cut, so it's hot out here.
Our barber shops not open yet?
No.
In BC they are. They open up in BC. Yeah, but Ontario, no. Hair salon, I think it's going to be a while before they open.
Yeah, I think phase 2 or 3 for hair salons. Like, I know there's no Wonderland, there's no parks open, no camping. So, like, what are you guys going to do this summer with the kids?
Well, for me, I'll be on my pool.
Right, but won't they get bored of the pool eventually?
Yeah, probably, but I don't care. There's nothing else that they can do. We're going swimming.
Like, Ryan, would your kids typically go into a camp in the summer or a sport?
No. My son does summer hockey. My daughter does dance. So yeah, they're still doing that. My daughter's happy. They've allowed her to go into the dance studio again, so she's happy. But it's just one-on-one.
Right.
But yeah, there's definitely things we can do. I'm lucky. My in-laws have a cottage up in Bobcaygeon, so I'll be going up there at some point. I just gotta wait for the lake to get a little bit warmer.
Well, I think it'll be warmer after this week for sure.
Yeah.
Dan, anything to add about what you're doing with your kids this summer?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
No, they got their trampoline that they go jump on. Mine's now figured out Fortnite, so he doesn't come upstairs. He's on the PS4.
Your 6-year-old is playing Fortnite or whatever age?
7, yeah. He's on Fortnite now, yeah.
That's crack for kids. You watch.
Yeah. He's just down there, and you know what? I really want to get him off, but we're so friggin' busy that it's just like, go play. Just go. Let all your buddies that are talking into your headset parent you for the day.
It's bad. I do the same thing.
I've given up, man. I've just given up.
8 hours a day?
No, he's down, but he is down there. Like, I don't think he's put on proper clothes for about 4 days.
Is he
wearing? So he looks like his dad. Like father, like son.
That was great.
That was really good. Anyway, on that note, it's time to say goodbye.
Thank you, Ryan.
I appreciate it again, gents. When new changes and stuff come out, let's do this again, and we'll try to get as much information out to your subscribers and your thousands of viewers.
Thank you very much. This is great.
All right, buddy. Have a great day.
All right, guys. We'll see you. Talk soon.
Yes, see ya.
Ciao.